So really the idea is China can give us the minerals, really keep the industry going. However, downstream area, maybe not so much. Is that really the idea?
Yeah, I think you mentioned that it's become quite politicized in the beginning of our conversation, and we can see that the idea of Chinese entities investing into the U.S. and receiving U.S. taxpayer incentives has become quite sensitive, and it's already being brought up on the campaign trail. This is an issue for components. Chinese entities want to invest in battery cell capacity in the United States and then could be eligible for these U.S. taxpayer incentives. We think it's very challenging going into an election year for this to happen. Whereas critical mineral investment, which is basically everything else except the battery cell, can happen in free trade countries like Korea.
That sounds like a big positive for South Korean battery players.
I think that with the definition, with clarification of the definition, we will see a lot more tie-ups between Korean battery materials companies and Chinese materials companies, and we've already started to see soft memorandums of understanding happening over the past 6 months. I think that investment will crystallize with the definition.
Yeah, among the Korean players, you actually favor Samsung SDI. You see more market share upside potential. Where is that coming from, and why not for LG Energy Solution or SK On?
I think in the case of LG Energy Solution, we can see that in terms of their customer portfolio, they are in almost every traditional automaker with the exception of BMW. So they are already a primary supplier for many of these companies, whereas Samsung's exposure is fairly limited. So where we think Samsung benefits is as a secondary supplier. And in fact, this morning, I think we saw, or over the weekend, in fact, Samsung will get further investment with Stellantis in the United States as an additional supplier to LG Energy Solution. So I think we could see this continue.
Do you think SK On comes out as, with a stronger position in terms of its partnership with Ford because of what happened with Ford and CATL pausing their joint battery plant in Michigan for now?
I think SK On has built greenfield wholly owned capacity in the United States over the past 2 years, and they've struggled to ramp that capacity at high utilization and high yield. And in fact, the losses have been significant. So I think that there may be hesitation with automakers on the visibility of SK On's supply. How quickly can they bring supply, especially when we want to qualify for these credits, these very generous credits. So if I'm an OEM, I want to tie up with a battery maker that can give me units of volume as quickly as possible. And that may be something that SK On struggles with.